Okay, good morning, boys and girls. I hope you had a lovely weekend. I hope you managed to get out in the lovely sunny weather and have some fresh air, get some fresh air after it's been quite horrible recently, hasn't it? But it started quite nice at the weekend. Anyway, we're continuing on with our time topic in maths, and we're looking at time. Let's remind ourselves of the three hands on a clock, okay? Our clocks that we're using only have two hands. Let's remind ourselves of the names of those and the name of the third hand, which isn't on ours. So we use clocks to tell us about hours, minutes and seconds in a day. It takes 1 hour for the big hand to travel all the way around the clock. We call this hand the minute hand. So the long one on our clock's the blue one. This is the minute hand. It takes us 1 minute, 60 seconds to go the whole way around the clock. Later on in the week, I'm going to be setting new challenges to see how many certain things you can do in 60 seconds, how many certain things you can do in 1 minute. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one, each minute the big hand goes past another little mark on the clock. Look at this. Each one of those little black marks is a minute, and as we said the other day, there are 60 minutes in an hour, and we counted up in fives, didn't we? So we said 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 60 seconds in a minute, and also 60 minutes in an hour. The small hand takes 12 hours to travel all the way around the clock. This hand tells us what hour it is closest to. We call this the hour hand. So we call the red one, the shorter one, the hour hand. It's moving the full way around the clock as we speak. Some clocks have a hand which moves very fast. Our clocks don't, which we're using for our maths lessons, but if you look around your house, I'm sure you'll be able to find one which has the seconds hand on it, and the second hand, you see it moving, it moves much noticeably quicker than the other hands. So each time this hand ticks past one little mark, it's been a second, and there's 60 seconds in a minute. So let's watch it go. Click on it and see how it goes. Okay, it didn't go. Let's move on. Okay, time. Okay, an hour is quite long. There are 24 hours in a day. It takes about an hour to have a lesson. It takes about an hour for you to listen to this little lesson, go and do your work, maybe do your little extra CGP book after. A minute is quite short. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. It takes about a minute to put your shoes on. And a second is very short. There are 60 seconds in a minute. It takes about a second to click your fingers or take a breath. So I'm gonna be setting you some challenges of how many things you can do in a minute later on in the week, but for today we're still focusing on hours. Okay, and today we're looking at counting how many hours there are between two times. So I'm going to give you a time and I'm going to give you another time. I'm going to say how much time has passed in between each of those, okay? So on this clock here, it says how many hours has it been since 12 o'clock. So I'm going to make my clock match the clock on the screen. I'm going to make it 12 o'clock, and it says how many hours has it been since 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock until this time, well, that time's 4 o'clock. So I'm going to see how many spins of my clock it takes me to get from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, okay? So I'm going to spin around and make sure I'm going to move clockwise to the right, okay? So that clocks do not travel back in time. So let's go. So we're on 12 o'clock, we want to go to 4 o'clock. 1 hour. 2 hours takes us to 2 o'clock. 3 hours takes us to 3 o'clock. And 4 hours took us to 4 o'clock. So that was 4 hours between those times. And if we look on the screen, we can watch that minute hand move around the clock 4 times as well. So let's go. So 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So it took 4 hours. It has been 4 hours since 12 o'clock, or 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock. That was 4 hours. Okay. How many hours has it been since 12 o'clock? So I'm going to put my clock back to 12 o'clock. And this time we're looking from 12 o'clock until 7 o'clock. So I've got my 12 o'clock. I'm going to keep going till I get to 7 o'clock. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. It took 7 whole hours to get to 7 o'clock. And let's see it on the screen. We'll count them as they go. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, and 7 hours, okay? So we just counted those hours in between, okay? This time it says, how many hours since it's been on, how many hours has it been since 3 o'clock? So I'm gonna make my clock, I'm gonna start my clock off on 3 o'clock, and we are going to go from 3 o'clock until 8 o'clock, okay? So 1 hour takes me to 4 o'clock, 2 hours takes me to 5 o'clock, 3 hours takes me to 6 o'clock, 4 hours takes me to 7 o'clock, and to get to 8 o'clock, it took me 5 spins of the clock, 5 full spins of that minute hand, or 5 hours. And we'll watch it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you could even work that out if you didn't have a clock. You could think, right, well, it's 3 o'clock now. I want to get to 8 o'clock. So I'm going to count on from 3 to 8 and see how many it took me to get there. So 3 in my head, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It took me 5 hours to get there, okay? Let's look at our next one. Okay, so how many hours has it been since 2 o'clock? And we're going until 6 o'clock. So we'll go 2 o'clock. Got my 2 o'clock, and I want to go until 6 o'clock. So let's count the hours. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. It took me 4 hours to get there, or 2 if I didn't have a clock. 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had to add on 4. It took me 4 more hours to get there, just like you do normal adding sum. Okay. Okay, we'll do one more. How many hours has it been since 7 o'clock? So 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock. So 7 o'clock, I want to go until 10 o'clock. 7, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or 7, 8, 9, 10, 3 more hours. And there's my 3 spins as we look, okay? 1, 2, and 3, okay? Okay, got some other questions here without a clock. Amir went to the park at 3 o'clock. He came home at 7 o'clock. How many hours was Amir at the park? So he went at 3, he came home at 7, so we're going to count from 3 to 7, and we're going to count on. Or we could do 7, take away 3. But I find counting on is easier. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 hours is the amount of time that he was at the park. Or 7, take away 3, 7, 6, 5, 4. Get the same answer, don't you? What's the difference between 3 and 7? 4 hours. Okay. Tom started his swimming lessons at 10 o'clock. The lesson finished at 12 o'clock. How many hours long was Tom's swimming lesson? So 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock. So 10, 11, 12. His lesson was 2 hours. Or 12 take away 2. 12, 11, 10. 2 hours. So we'd take 2 away. So next one, last one. Cornelia, that's a good name, isn't it? Cornelia had lunch at 1 o'clock. 4 hours later, she had dinner. She had dinner at 6 o'clock. Is this true? So we need to do 1 o'clock plus 4 hours and see if that's 6 o'clock. So 1 plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That got me 5 o'clock. So is 6 o'clock true? No, it is false. Okay. She had dinner at 5 o'clock, as we worked out. So this is what you've got to do, guys. There are 2 sheets. I would start off on the one with 2 stars on. Okay, it says, it is 12 o'clock. How much later will it be when the clocks show these times? So make your clock become 12 o'clock. We want to go to 4 o'clock. How many hours later is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hours later, okay? There's another one, slightly harder. This one you just have to be careful because it tells you different times to start at. On the other sheet, all of the times start at 12 o'clock, but some of these start at different times. So you read where you start, read where you start, read where you end, and then put in how many hours have passed. And we'll do a little bit more of that tomorrow, but we'll make it even harder, okay? So best of luck with that. Shout out, today's video goes to Blair. I just saw her there about an hour ago. Good to see you, Blair. I haven't seen you in ages. Looking forward to seeing everyone soon. Remember, one more week left, so let's make this week a really productive week. Let's get loads of work done, so then when we get back, we can have a little bit of a rest when we first come back, see our friends for a little bit, and then crack on with all our work again, okay? See you soon, guys. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.